to 52 Weeks of Beauty. Today's video is going to be part 2 of the frequently asked questions about tape-in hair extensions. The last video was so hard for me to do because I was talking about that tape and you know how tricky it is with the labels, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I filmed that video like 4 times I think. So hopefully this one will be a lot quicker. It's just going to be simple questions, simple answers, and hopefully we can get through a lot of questions so you guys can feel like 100% ready if you haven't done your tape-ins to do them. So I have a sheet with questions, so I'm going to go ahead and be looking down a little bit and I'm going to go through them. And okay, so let's go ahead and do the first one, is can you brush over the tape? Like when the tape is in your hair, can you brush over your hair with the brush? And yes, you can. I recommend one thing so important is if you're somebody that combs your hair in the shower, brushes your hair in the shower, I don't know, sometimes people like to put conditioners and then like brush through that. Absolutely don't do that anymore. When your hair is wet with the tape in and you brush it, I mean, I think it would just get really, really loose and you don't want to do that. So if you can avoid it, I would say, like if you need to brush your hair before you shampoo and condition it, just go ahead, grab the end like this and brush through it and then go ahead and get in the shower and do, you know, wash your hair and everything like that. You know, when you get out of the shower and it's wet, always hold your hair and brush through it. Don't just sit there and just be like loose or just start here and start tugging. I mean, you really want your extensions to stay. So it's just so important that you don't ever brush your hair without holding on to it first. And then after you get through all of this part and it's nice and silky, you definitely can kind of go back through with the brush. I wouldn't recommend brushing right over the tape, but you can get close enough or get closer up on your hair. I have brushed over it. You've seen it in the video if you watched all the tape-in videos, and it's okay. I wouldn't recommend it. You really don't need to get that close. If so, just do it really carefully. Okay, so let's do another question. How do you remove the tape in hair extensions? And this is probably like, oh my gosh, huge question, so important. And so here's my number one tip is if you don't use the tape that I'm using. So if you don't use any of the tape by Walker, which is usually starts with something called No Shine. If you're not using No Shine tabs, No Shine pieces, No Shine rolls, I would recommend you contact the manufacturer for whoever supplied your tape. Usually they will have a remover that they recommend because adhesives are all different and their removers are tried out for their tapes. So ask them, send them an email, call them, anything. Maybe look it up online. They might already have it that they're selling it on the site that you bought the tape from, you know. So I would just really, really recommend it. Sometimes companies that make tape don't make a remover and they have a certain way. Like I found a company recently that was like, our tape is great and all these wonderful things, and we recommend just coconut oil, and it works. Well, I tried coconut oil with this tape and it doesn't work. So, but it probably works for their tape. So see what I mean? So contact the manufacturer. Another girl said she uses acetone, like to remove the tape from her hair, and she doesn't know how healthy it is for the actual like hair that it might touch, but it gets the tape right out. Well, you know what? I tried that too, and that doesn't work on this tape. So again, best answer to that question is if you are using the tape, go with the brand that they recommend for the remover too, or go with that company's remover for that tape. Okay, so that's that. As far as actually removing it, okay, so now you have the remover for the tape that you bought. As far as removing it, again, you're gonna have to contact that person and ask them how they do it, or that company. But for me and for this tape, and for those of you who have this tape or are buying this tape or want to try it with this way or this particular brand, here's what I would recommend is Walker Weft Release. That's my favorite. It smells like watermelon and it works like beautifully. I've tried so many things, even the other things they recommend, and this is honestly the best one that really, really does the job and really, really works. And so anyway, it's really simple. I did a whole video on this, but just a quick breakdown is you just it's a drip top. So you open it up and then you just lightly put it along your weft and you just start kind of holding the ends and like wiggling a little bit, usually after like 30 seconds or so. And you don't use a ton because this has a little bit of oil in it. You already are going to have some residue in your hair when you take out your tape and hair extension, so you don't want to have like a ton of oil too. I mean, if you don't care and you're gonna do an oil treatment on your hair afterwards, then go crazy. But also you got to think cost too. I mean, it's not a super expensive remover, but it does you know, I mean, obviously if you're dumping a whole bunch on your head, you're gonna be wasting it. So you really don't need to do that. So I usually just do, you can start from the bottom, start from the top, however you wanna remove them. There's really no like magic way to do it as far as an order, unless you are numbering your wefts and you're gonna put them back in and you already have layered them, then yes, then you might wanna start in order of a way that you can lay them out, or you know how, you know, which ones are gonna be going back in a certain way. So anyway, you take the remover, you put it on, you kind of like let it sit for 30 seconds or so, then you start wiggling it, and it should come really easy. If it doesn't, add a little more remover, wait a few more seconds, and that. So anyway, I usually take the whole weft, it comes right off in one piece. The tape comes right off the weft. Like I said, it's stretchy, it goes bing, and it's like off, and you can also peel it off the weft if it's still on there. If it's in your hair, you can peel it right out. And then after I take all of the pieces out, then I get in the shower, and basically what I do is, the first thing I do is put a ton of conditioner in. So I'm putting the Aussie 3-Minute Miracles, some of the macadamia nut oil, macadamia oil, whatever that one is. You guys know that conditioner. I'm putting those in, and I'm just letting it sit for a little bit. I have a fine tooth comb in there. Sometimes I use my glue remover shampoo because it's so silky. It's the Jamaican Dream that I talked about. It feels more of a conditioner, not a shampoo, but I love just making my hair so full of conditioner, like it's crazy. It's like I'm lathering on like 2 or 3 or 4 coats of conditioner or glue remover shampoo and just letting it sit for like, I don't know, a minute or 2. And then I put my hair back in the water and I lightly start combing from the bottom up, like lightly. So you are definitely going to have some hair that comes out. And I talked about this before, and I don't want you guys to freak out because it's not a big deal at all. So here's the thing to keep in mind. You're gonna have some residue that comes out. So a little bit of like just, I don't know, stickiness. You're gonna have, maybe you have a piece of tape that got left in there that you forgot about and didn't even realize till you started combing through. You're gonna have the water that's, you know, in your conditioner. I mean, when you're combing through and you have a little bit of hair, it looks like a lot more, but after you clean it off in the end, I promise, it's like this much. It's not much. It might be, if I really spread them all out, like 100 hairs maybe, and that might seem like a lot, but we lose 100 hairs a day. You've had your extensions in for 4 to 6 weeks. The hair, you can tell that the tape is not taking your hair with it, because when you take that tape off your weft, or you take the tape off, like, you know, if it's still stuck in your hair and you pull it out, there's no hair on it. So the tape is not damaging to your hair. Yes, there's residue in your hair and you're combing it out, but that residue is what held those loose hairs that fell out over the course of the month. So just realize, like, if you are normally used to getting tape and hair extensions and you have them professionally put in, and they're putting in those pieces on your hair, and they're putting it, you know, oil, and they're taking it out, and then they wash your hair in that tub, you don't know that there's 100 hairs in that tub too. I mean, you can't really see it. It probably goes right down the drain before you even notice it. So when you do it yourself and when you remove it yourself, just be prepared. You're gonna have a little bit. But anyway, like I said, you put your hair back in the conditioner in the shower, and I lightly comb through with the fine tooth comb all over. And then maybe add more conditioner and do it one more time. And then what I do is I go crazy with apple cider vinegar and baking soda and shampoo. I kind of make this big, like, it's like a volcano erupted in my hands, but like, just be careful. But when I put the apple cider vinegar on, it's like whoosh, and then I'm like whoosh, and I put it all in my hair. So I just like it. It's my own little clarifying treatment. Be careful, the apple cider vinegar can burn your eyes, you know, all that good stuff. But anyway, I kind of go through and I just really work it and get all of that out, and then I rinse it, and then I probably just do another shampoo and another conditioning treatment, just real quick through. Maybe use the comb one more time. Never ever comb through when you first are trying to take out the residue with just shampoo or just water. Like, no, why? You know, like, don't do that. I mean, it's for sure going to take out more hair if you do that. Like, you don't want to do that. You just want it to be so silky conditioned, and you're just going to comb through, get the little loose hairs that got stuck along the way, get the little residue out. The clarifying treatment will really help. Do those things again and again until you feel like your hair's good, you know? It doesn't take me that long. Sometimes I do get out of the shower, I dry my hair, it feels great, and then I'm like, oh, there's a little sticky residue right here and right here. And then I just jump back in, or I'm just like, forget it, I'll wait till the morning. And then I do it the next day. It's good with you when you do tape, and to maybe take a day or 2 off, you know? If you can't handle it, I mean, then definitely just know you might have to shower a couple times in a row to get it all out, dry your hair twice, you know, all of that, and then redo everything. But normally I like to wait just a little bit, give my hair a little breather. It kind of feels great. You know, when you're used to like wearing extensions all the time, you take them out, you're like, oh, my hair can breathe, and it feels good. But then it's like a day or 2 later, you're like, ah, I hate it, I gotta put it back in. So anyway, that's kind of what I do. And then during that time you take your extensions out. If you highlight your hair then. If you maybe low light your hair, whatever you do it then. If you want a little trim, or you want like a deep mask overnight, you know, with a shower cap on, those are like times to really, really just let your hair have like a little vacation. And then you can put them all back in, you know, whenever you feel like you can't handle your normal hair anymore, which is like me all the time. Okay, another big question, will it show in the wind? Will they show through? Will they, all of that? No, I don't think so. I mean, the only part that ever shows through for me is I have this weird little cowlick like this big in the back of my head. When I first shower and dry my hair, it never shows through. It's the second day. So the second day after I've slept in my cowlick, or whatever that word is, it is so annoying to me. So, I mean, that little piece, and it doesn't even look like anything, it just looks like a line, because remember, your hair is over the tape. So it's not like it's like, oh, there's a bead, or oh, there's a weft, you know, you can't see anything, you just see like a line, but just because of my hair. So if you have a weird cowlick or whatever, the best advice I have is wash your hair every day, you know, or tease it right there the second day. But normally when I first, like the first day after I wash my hair, it lays perfectly. It's just because after I sleep, and anyway, but no, you can't see it. The wind doesn't show it. It's all, I love this. This is why I do this. It's my favorite way. Okay. Can you swim with them in? Yes, you can. Chlorine and all that are just bad for extensions in general, and I'm sure you swimmers know that. So it's better, yes, you can put it on the top of your head. You can do top knots. You can do all of that. I'm going to do a video really soon about different hairstyles, and I figure I'll just do that then. So I'll do the top knot. I Instagrammed a couple pictures of it the other day, so if you want to check my Instagram out, you can see. And then, yeah, I'll do all sorts of like different hairstyles like that I use with tape-ins and all of that for you girls, like in the next few weeks. But for now, if you're a swimmer, put it on the top of your head in a top knot. Yes, you can. Just a quick tutorial on the top knot with tape-ins. I flip my hair upside down. I don't just grab it and go up. So you want the tape, because it is kind of flexible, you know, it bends with you. So if you just grab it all, you don't know if it's completely straight up. So flip your hair upside down. Pat all of your hair just nicely. Make sure the tape is all laying flat upside down, and then gather it, and then do your little swirly thing with the ponytail holder, however you guys do it. That's the best way. And I mean, it's better to have like a little bit looser top knot. You're not going to want like slick up all the way. I don't think that's going to work with tape-ins. It'll be like a looser top knot. Okay, another question is, are the tape-in extensions like flat to your head? Like if someone touched your head, would they feel it? And they are so flat. Oh my gosh, so flat. If someone actually, like, I put this in one of my comments, like, say someone grabs you, you know, like maybe an ant, and they're like, oh dear, and they like touch your back of your head, and if you have extensions, you're like, don't touch my hair. But they're like, they're not gonna feel anything. It's not gonna be like when you have clip-ins in, or when you have, you know, a sewn in weft or beads or anything like that. So they're not gonna like feel it. They'd be like, oh, you know, like it wouldn't even matter. But yes, for you, it's flat. For your boyfriend that touches your head, it's flat. For your aunt, whoever, it feels flat. And yeah, I mean, if you're doubling up or tripling, is that a word? Doubling, tripling, quadrupling. Yeah, it's a word. And you do all that. I mean, you have a little bit of more thickness, right? But I mean, you don't have to do all that. If you're crazy, like want a ton of thickness, then maybe you might feel it a little bit. But if you're just wanting to like put wefts in and put them like cascading down your hair, okay, I don't think they're gonna feel it. That leads me to the next question is, where do I place my wefts for my tape-ins? And basically, here's what I do. Imagine the back of my hair. Okay, imagine I'm turned around right now, and my ears. Okay, so it pretty much go to the top of my ears in the middle. So I don't let it go over my ear right there on the first weft. I usually do it kind of right below the top of my ear, okay, like almost even with the top of my ear. In between is where I put my first weft. So it's only like this big. That's where I put that one. The next one I usually, here, I'll just feel it. The next one I'll probably just go up a little bit more. And I do like almost all the way over, but make sure it's not too close to your ear, because then you're gonna have that weird thing where your ear and your weft are like really close, and then this little top of your ear peeks out and it just looks weird. Maybe just a little bit above my ear, like a ½ inch, and maybe like a ½ inch or an inch back from the sides of my head is where I'll put that next weft, because you wanna be able to put your hair up in a top knot or a ponytail or anything like that, or even half up. So you don't want it like completely over too far to the sides, okay? The next weft is literally the same thing, just a little bit up. So about a ½ inch to an inch back, about an inch or, you know, whatever above it, and if I have room and I feel like doing it higher, I do. But I normally don't like to do it too high because then it just doesn't seem to look very natural for me. There are some girls that like, it looks awesome when they put wefts up here, you know. I don't really, somehow my face and my hair, it just doesn't look right. I look in the mirror, I'm like, I don't look like myself. So I kind of just start, I think my first weft is like really no higher than, I'm looking in like my computer reflection, make sure, really no higher than right here. Yeah, right here to like right here is really all I ever do. My ear to like right there. Okay, does that help? Okay, and normally it's like 3 or 4 wefts. Okay, so another question I had, a woman wrote in and she's African American and she said, will tape-in hair extensions work on my hair? And she said because we put oils in our scalp and we put oils in our, you know, extensions in their hair and things like that. And so they just want, she's like, if oil is part of the remover, wouldn't that make the hair fall out? Okay. So then she asked me, she goes, do you have a friend? Maybe you could call up and you could ask and get her opinion on it and, you know, see what she thought. And I said, you know what, I actually do. The girl who used to sew my hair and braid my hair in, she actually does tape-in hair extensions too, as far as like installing them on other girls. And so we were on the phone, we were chatting, and I just said, you know, does it work? Is it, how do you handle it with your hair? How would you handle it on someone if you were installing them and, you know, they had a little bit oiliness to their hair? So here's what she said. She goes, yes, 100%. She does it all the time. It works just the way it would work for any other type of hair, except she says there's a few things. So you would not condition your hair the day of installation. So you would just shampoo and you would use absolutely no oil. So let's say not even any oils, no other treatments, no, you know, heat protectant before you blow dry or straighten your hair, none of those other things. So you just basically shampoo, dry, that's it. And then she says it will work just fine. As far as oils, she says if anyone's scalp is dry, they can put it right on their scalp, but don't put it like on the tape part. Like don't just like whoosh and then let it touch the tape. Just do the little parts that you need to, preferably where the tape isn't resting, because your entire head isn't covered in tape. It's just like those 3 places that you put the weft, or 4. You're gonna have a lot of space in between. So you could put some there, you could put some down here, but you're not gonna wanna put it anywhere near the tape, and you're not gonna wanna put too much on your scalp that it's gonna leak down. So here's the other thing we talked about too, is before I started doing these YouTube videos and doing all this tape and hair extension, I had a different way, and I mentioned it before. I had a different way for removing my tape and extensions, and I just didn't think it was perfect, and that's why I mentioned I was taking some time to do that removal video, because I wanted to find the best way for you girls, because I thought if I told you girls what I did, you would all be like, really? You know, because at first I didn't really know like how to remove them until I started completely researching it like crazy. But here's how I originally did it, is I just took a oil, you know, like those oil removers for like glue-in extensions, or just the oils that you get from the beauty supply store. I would just douse my hair with it. I would put like a shower cap on or a towel over my shoulders, and I literally would just sit there for like an hour or longer, and I would just wait, because it would take forever for it to work. And so if that makes you feel any better, if you are African American, I had to sit forever with a bunch of oil in my hair. So if you're worried about those few pieces near your scalp, or not pieces, drops, or whatever you put in your hair, getting to the tape and that will loosen it, I don't think it will, because I really did sit forever before my oil worked enough to remove that adhesive. Now, remember, there is a little bit of oil in the Weft Release, but I think it's because it's mixed with pharmaceutical grade alcohol and maybe one more magical ingredient. I don't know, but the 2 of them work perfectly at like quick. Oil by itself takes a while, so I think you're gonna be okay. That's my answer for that. I hope that is helpful. Okay. Another thing that I want to mention is like just not to play with the tape. You know, you don't want to sit there and be like playing with it. You know how you can play with your hair if you have micro beads, like you're just like feeling them or whatever. Don't play with it. Like just let it go. Like after you do your hair in the morning, don't sit there and be like, oh, you know, I want to feel the tape, or I feel it. Like your hands have oil on them and all of that. I just think it's just better just to not bother with them. You know, just your hair, fine, not just mess with the tape. Okay. Another thing is, like, does it damage your hair? Like we talked about many, many times, I don't believe it does. I used to, you know, glue the wefts in my hair and I would have bald spots. I have nothing like that. This is like, I told you, those few little hairs that come out, it's natural, it's normal, it's going to happen. It would have happened anyway. The tape just was like, and the residue were like, hey, I'm gonna hold on to you because I'm not letting you go just because I'm not gonna, you know. But before, like, otherwise, gravity would have its own way of life, or whatever you want to say, and your hair would fall out anyway. So it's normal, natural shedding. I don't believe anything damages your hair, especially when you're careful in the shower and you're just using conditioner with a nice fine-tooth comb in the water, just to get out the residue. Here's a thing that I noticed somebody had mentioned too, is you don't want to put the tape, not that you would if you follow my videos, but you don't want to put the tape on the, how do I explain this? So, you know how I say you take the tape roll and you go right on the weft. You cut it, you put it on the other side, you cut it, you heat it with a flat iron, and then you peel. You definitely don't, and I just went to Amazon and I read some reviews of other tapes. There wasn't many on this tape yet, but other tapes. And there's some girls with like horrible experiences, like my hair fell out in like a day, like what'd I do wrong? Well, it seemed to that they take the tape off like this, they're touching it, then they put it on the weft, and then they put it in their hair, and I don't even know if they flat iron it. But try to touch this as less as possible, least possible, whatever. And just like this, like, then you can flat iron it. You have to do those things, okay? So don't put the tape, don't peel off the backing before it's on the weft, okay? So that's a major tip. Okay, here's another tip. These aren't really questions, these are tips I guess we're moving into right now, is I am so big on this, and oh my goodness, like the last thing I want is like for you girls to try this and you don't like it. I'll be like crushed, you know, because I want you to love it, and I think that you will. I mean, if I'm obsessed with hair extensions and I love this way, I feel like as long as I'm communicating right for you girls to do it, and if you guys, if something goes wrong, I feel like it's my fault. Does that make sense? Yeah, I feel like I didn't tell you something, or, you know, I don't know. But here are my favorite tips of all, okay? Number one, I'm sure you've heard me say this 3,000 times, but I'm just gonna go through them on this part of the video, is make sure you wait 24 to 48 hours after you install them. That's so important. Number two is you have to flat iron with a 400 to 450 degree flat iron on the weft, not while the weft is in your hair and you're like, okay, now I'm gonna flat iron the tape on it. No, you wanna flat iron it while it's loose and you haven't installed it yet. You wanna hold the you know, clamp down across the weft with your flat iron for like 1 second, 2 seconds, something like that. The next thing is, you know, be careful when you hold it, like when you brush your hair. Really take care of it that way. And I think those are like the main things. Okay, so let's say that you are somebody that you want your extensions, your tape to last not 4 to 6 weeks, you want them to last longer. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason I say 4 to 6 weeks, it's not like the tape just one day you wake up and it's like, oh, I'm tired of staying in your hair, bye, and it falls out. No, it's that your hair grows, and even my hair doesn't grow very fast, but it grows enough that in 4 to 6 weeks, my weft isn't perfectly right at my scalp line, so I'm just a little bit like, I want to move it up, you know? So if you don't care about that, like let's say you have really thick natural hair and you're really just putting some wefts in the bottom half of fullness or thickness, and you're okay if it grows out like an inch or whatever, and you don't really want to mess with it until it's been like 2 or 3 months. Okay, here's what you can do. To get, and this is a good tip for other people too, or good with 4 to 6 weeks, but this is a little bit extra steps, but this will ensure your extensions are for sure gonna last a little bit longer. So if you're nervous about taping and you think they might fall out easy, or you're just afraid of all of these, you know, horror stories you may have heard from other companies or other tapes, other girls, I guess, not companies, that probably wouldn't say that, anyway. So if you're a little bit nervous about the tape falling out earlier than you're ready for it to, or slipping, or anything like that, I mean, and maybe you think you just have naturally, you know, oily hair, or maybe you work out a lot, or maybe you are a swimmer, or maybe you're all these things, you know. So here are the few extra steps you can take to make sure your extensions for sure last 4 to 6 weeks, if not even longer, if you're one of those people that want it to last really long. Okay, so shampoo your hair twice with the clarifying shampoo, okay? This is before installation. So you're gonna shampoo your hair twice with the clarifying, which means baking soda, apple cider vinegar mixed with a little shampoo, that would work. Or a shampoo that actually says clarifying shampoo, or the big shampoo from Lush. You know, I love that. Those are all great clarifying shampoos. You would want to do it twice, no conditioning at all. No. Get out of the shower, dry your hair, no product whatsoever. Yes, it's gonna feel a little weird. Comb it with a wide tooth comb. Make sure you're not using a fine tooth comb or a brush when your hair has no conditioner or anything in it, especially you're not supposed to do it anyway when it's wet. But anyway, wide tooth comb, dry your hair as normal with a blow dryer or whatever. And then go ahead and put in your tape and do all of that. Okay, here's the trick. 3 days before getting your hair wet, okay? So those steps are really going to help you last even longer. Or if you're nervous at all, do that to begin with, you know. And I know it's gross 3 days, but you could use dry shampoo, you know, stuff like that to get through. And I don't mean just like shampoo and condition for, you know, wait 3 days. I mean, wait 3 days to get your hair wet, okay? Because that is like the biggest thing. So when I say 24, 48 hours, I don't mean go ahead and get your hair wet, just don't use shampoo and conditioner. Like literally like 24, 48 hours of no moisture. That tape needs some time to get to know your hair and be like, hey, we're gonna hang out for a few weeks together, you know? You don't wanna mix water and shampoo and conditioner and all that until it's ready and it's solid, because honestly, like, if you do those steps and you take care of your hair and you always hold your hair when you brush it, your hair is going to be awesome. And just like, honestly, to give you an example, like say you're out and about or something and your hair gets caught on somebody or whatever. I mean, it's not like clip-ins where you're going to have a piece go flying, you know? Your hair is solid. Like I can pull on my hair so tight and like it's not going to go anywhere. But when it's wet, you probably could do the same thing. I'm just saying, like, it's better to just be careful and do it. Hold it. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything, and then I think we might actually be good. Okay, so I think that might be everything. Oh my goodness. Now I'm sure there's going to be more questions along the way, and I'm sure, you know, since this has only been a few months since I've had these videos up, you guys maybe are trying this for the first time or getting ready to, so it's going to be like a few more months before I hear any like other questions maybe that haven't been brought up yet. So I'll definitely do another frequently asked question video if there needs to be one in the future. And again, I'm always here to answer your questions. And you know for sure like that you can comment. You can send me a private message to my inbox. You can my email is on the hair extension case screen. Like if you watch that for the contest that's coming up. By the way, I think there's only 2 people that have officially entered, so there's still a chance. Ends June 17th. And it's for a package of like free hair extensions. Like, come on, that's amazing. Okay, and I love seeing those entries. So like those 2, I'm just like, I know that doesn't sound like much, but those 2 I'm so proud of and I'm so happy, and I love that they did that and they're fun and yeah, they're great. So, but I just wanted to encourage you, if you haven't had it second yet, you still have some time. Also, so what else? I am so willing to answer you guys all the time, okay? So ask me anything. I'm here to help, like I've said so many times, and I really truly mean it. And I just want you guys not to feel frustrated. If there's like any time of day and you're like, oh my gosh, I need help with something, like reach out to me. It doesn't even have to be about tape, and it could be about any other hair extension or any other question that you can think of that you think I might be able to help you. I'm here. Okay, so I think that's it. Next video is going to be, should I tell you? Okay, it's gonna be about clip-in hair extensions, applying them, making them in a slightly different way than maybe you make them already. Okay, so that'll be next week, and until then, I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.